Hi guys, so in this video today, I'm going to show you how you can get your lawn super flat, super level when you're building up the layers of the soil that's going to be underneath your lawn. As this is starting a brand new lawn and you want to get your levels up. You can also use some of these tips to help level up an existing lawn. So please watch and you can see how we take it from an uneven bit of space into a lawn that is as flat as this. Let's crack on. So, you're going to need some tools. So let's show you which sort of tools you're going to need to help you along. So we start off, you need a bit of string. Now, I got some of these from Screwfix, and they're called Builder's String Lines. They're $3.99 each. Nice and simple, but you don't need these. You can just get a normal piece of string, and you need some bricks. Just one brick, couple of bricks, just to wrap the string around so you've got a bit of a weight so you can get some tension on the string. You're also going to need a landscaper's rake. This is just to move around piles of soil until you get it fairly flat. House bricks, just typical house bricks, one or two of those, or like I say, are a heavy book. A lawn levelling lute will help to smooth out any undulations in what you've got, so it'll take off the high spots and move that into a low spot. You'll need some compost, B&Q Verve. I've used this for years. I also use Home Bargains compost called Grow More. I've tried Wicks, but the Wicks one was wet because it was stored outside. So they're to go on top of the seeds. Topsoil and Compost. This company here called Field Compost. fieldcompost.co.uk. If you ring them up and ask them for compost from field number 4, see what sort of prices they charge for you, but this stuff is amazing. And then looking for topsoil, you want some screened topsoil, which is nice and fine, a little bit of sand in there, so it's quite sandy, just so you can smooth it out. It hasn't got to all be sand or mostly sand, just a little bit. The main point is it's nice and dry and it's very small and fine to work with. Now, I actually got my sand from a local company called Doncaster Aggregates, Darren and Michelle. Been using them for years, but they deliver on the back of a truck and they tip it wherever you want it. So I got my 5 tons from them. So let's now go through the video and you can see how we've done this lawn. So what we've got here, as you can see, is the topsoil. Now, it was delivered in 2 lots of 2.5 ton. So they delivered the first 2.5 ton, then they went and got the second 2.5 ton. During this time, I had to shift as much as I could, which was probably about 45 minutes, because they were coming back with the second half ton going into the same spot. So I managed to shift probably, I don't know, 1.5 tons, 1.75 tons in that time. So what I did, I just basically filled the wheelbarrow up as fast as I could, straight round the back garden, and started depositing wheelbarrowfuls across the garden, starting from the back and working my way forwards. They're all pretty much next to each other, and what the idea of this is, we're going to spread it all out, and this is going to create a fairly even sort of coverage, hopefully around an inch, couple of inches at most, across the whole of the lawn. And what the idea is, we're going to build those inch or 2 layers up, get them flat, work them in, firm it down, and then keep repeating and repeating and repeating. So it was around this point, when I'd done sort of 2/3 of the garden with the soil, they actually came back with the rest of the soil, the other 2.5 ton. And that's where you can see that there on the mat. So I started to bring a bit more soil in round the back and basically brought those piles up really close up to the edge of the path and patio where I've been going onto the lawn. So that brings us on to the next stage. So what we're doing here, we're bringing 5 ton of soil in to bring the levels up and improve the quality of the soil. The guys that did the landscaping, they brought in very poor quality soil, very clay, full of stones, full of glass. So we've gone for a more expensive screened topsoil, and it's really good quality. It's very fine and easy to spread. It's quite sandy. So what we're doing, we've currently brought about 3.5 ton in, into piles. Now the next step I'm going to do is start raking it about using the landscape rake there, just so we've got maybe an inch or so across the whole lawn. Then we're going to try and get that as level as we can, backwards and forwards, using the lute, and then we'll use a roller to firm it down. After that we'll bring in the rest of the soil and then start leveling up little dips and just trying to get it a bit more even overall. And then we're going to be doing the overseeding. Raked out the piles fairly flat. Now to get it absolutely really much better, what we've got to do, we've got to firm all these layers down. So we firm like an inch, so we've spread it out. There's about an inch over most of the lawn, so we're going to go over, we're going to try the roller, but we might have to heel it in. Try the roller, keep going backwards and forwards with the lawn levelling lute and the landscaping rake, and then we'll see where it needs a bit more. So I'm going to crack on with this. Let's try the roller first. What I've done at this point, I've gone right up to the edge of the path, because we want them bits literally flush with the path, if not just a touch above, so it can settle and drop a little bit. Then you'll have the grass on top, so you can run your mower along the brick edging and just cut it nice and easy. So I'll just carry on now. I'll go right across the rest of the lawn using the roller just to get it all firmed in and firmed down that first layer. This is where you want a heavy lute, because it goes over the humps, and all the high humps, with the weight it will drag the height off the hump and move it along until it reaches a dip. So it's thus filling in the dips. So you keep going over like this with the roller and with the lute, and just keep doing it different directions, and eventually you get to the point where you've got a nice level lawn. How much better does that look? Ah, I've got all that blossom to come off that tree. That's annoying. Even that on its own has just made the world of difference. And I'm going to go over again now with the roller a second time. So we are firming, moving the soil around into the dips. Keep firming, keep firming, keep firming. And then we can bring the rest of the soil in and start building up the layers and making sure it's all perfectly flush around the edge. But that looks pretty good, I'd say. So just setting up some string lines now, just to give us a rough idea where we're at. I think in some areas it just go up a little bit, but in general, want it flat with the edge. I did order a spirit bubble to go onto these lines, but it hasn't turned up. which I'm quite annoyed about. So I've just got a brick. We come across to this one. Gives you an idea. Gives you an idea of where you're at. So, right, nice and tight. You can see that actually that is pretty good. Across there is just touching, and it's just this corner here which I've left deliberately because I didn't want to be getting loads of soil going up on there. Well, I've still got another 3/4 of a ton to bring in. But yeah, what I'm going to do from here is just move this strategically at different points across the garden, and when I see a dip I'm going to plonk some soil there. So I'm just going to work my way down, bricks and bricks all the way down, and put soil wherever there's a dip, and then we'll start firming those in again and rolling in and raking around using the lute and the landscaping rake, and just repeating until we're going across the whole lawn, filled in all the dips. Now what I would have done, like I say, spirit bubble, it's only 2 or 3 inches wide and it just hangs onto that line, so you can get it absolutely perfectly flat, and you can work it along the garden and get the whole thing spirit level flat, which is what I was wanting to do on this garden. But you know what, that looks pretty good, and they are going to be much happier as a result. I can see visually we need some in that corner, so I'm just going to work my way around and do my best. Just to show you what I mean. We take this string line here, okay, we'll put it flat with that. You can see now really there's just a bit of a gap here, but overall going up there it's virtually touching, it's virtually flat, just the tiniest bit here. So this is how you do it, guys. You bring some soil in, you rake it about so it's fairly flat, you want maybe 1 inch at a time, and then you roller it to firm it down, use a lute to get it all nice and flat, filling in the dips, taking out the humps, and then roll it again. Just keep working those until you're happy. Bring a bit more in whenever you see a dip. When it's your own garden, you can take as long as you want. You can take 3 weeks to do it if you want and get it absolutely bowling green flat. But with this one, because I haven't got the spirit bubble, as long as it is mostly flat, it's going to be far better than what they had. You can see that's pretty good. It's just literally this section here, and if we bring it down to here, for example, I know that the patio there is about 2.5 inches down this wood here. So if we go down to there, which is where it is, you can see it's fairly flat up there, and then bear with me, what you've got is probably about a 2-inch drop here, so that is going to continue down this edge. So I'm going to keep bringing some soil in down here. Right, so we have got around 1/2 ton of soil left, and at this stage we put a bottom inch in, didn't we? And we got that roughly levelled out, rolled, looted, rolled, looted, rolled, looted, landscape rake, just raking it all about, getting it fairly level. And then we've come in with bits and bobs and started filling in the dips. We've used a string line, and right now it is perfectly acceptable. And this is taken, well, it's 1:30. Got here at 8 o'clock. The soil came about 9, so about 4.5 hours, something like that, and we've got to this stage. So it is good enough. Unless you are going for that perfect bowling green, then you will spend a lot more time with your string lines, with this spirit bubble on the string lines, and fine-tuning every little dip that you can see. That is good enough. It might not be 100% flat, perfect bowling green, but it's certainly 95%. And for most home gardens, that is not bad. Especially if you're doing it yourself. Once the grass has come through and it all grows, it looks so much better. It's very hard to see when it's just soil. But you'll give it 4 or 5 weeks from now and just have a look. Right, so this is what we've got left now, about half a ton. So, yeah, this was full. So what I'm doing now, I'm just continuously walking over the lawn, and when I find a little dip, I'm chucking a bit of soil in and I'm just smoothing it out as best I can. Once I've got all that soil in, I'm then just going over with the landscaper's rake, just up and down, creating these nice little grooves. And that's dead easy, it's just a case of dragging it up and down. And that then is the stage at which we are ready to scatter the seed. Because it's like the farmers' fields where they plough them and they plant the seeds. So we're going to do that, rake the whole lawn once we've got the rest of this soil in. And then we're going to overseed. And then we're going to get it all raked in and rolled in. We're getting there. All the front's cleared away now, tidied up. Every bit of soil is in. We've managed to get some in the borders for them as well. So there's just literally a couple of piles down there. One there. Just raking them in. And then we're going to put the grooves in. Get some seed on. So we're going to put some of this grass seed into that spreader. Walk up and down the lawn. Then we're just going to gently go over with the rake just to push some of the seeds down a bit. And then we'll get the roller and firm it all in. So this last bit of raking now is more just to use the soil up. There shouldn't be too many undulations and dips now because we've worked hard to fill them in. So just a case of spreading it around. So this is just a mixed amenity seed, and it's from Sheriff Amenity, and it's called CC Sports Overseed. Okay. And it is literally just a general amenity seed, hard wearing. So we filled up the little Scotch spreader now. You adjust how big the holes are at the bottom for the seeds to come out using that green dial there. And you turn that round. I've got it open onto the maximum to get the maximum amount of seeds down as it's walking over the lawn. So I'm just going to proceed to go over the whole lawn 2 or 3 times in different directions, so we get a good even coverage. You can just see in the pictures there going across and then going up and down, and at the end I'm just going over, giving it a gentle rake. So we are there. We are pretty much done it now. I just scattered as much compost I've got across the lawn. I had not brought any spreaders with me to spread it, so I just literally flung it around by hand, and then went over with the roller. We didn't completely cover all of the seeds, but it's not the end of the world because many of them were pressed in and amongst the soil, all the grooves in the soil. But yeah, that is the finished appearance. So it is now just a case of keeping things watered for the next 4 weeks, nice and lightly with a nice light mist, and we'll see this lawn in a little while. Thanks for watching.